This conference will now be recorded.
All right, everyone. So happy Friday. Today is January 25th. And as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So looks like we got a big jump pretty much across the board, almost in everything. But one of the most interesting ones is Cron. So we know we had really great buying that came in towards that 16 level. Now, we didn't have as much as we would have liked to see at the actual 16, but you know what? This thing has jumped up. We can see our highs sitting right there at 1675. Now, one interesting thing that I have been just looking at this morning is if we look at 8 o'clock, we can see below the bid that we have all of these prints basically from 1590 to pretty much give or take 1650, 1665, right in that area. But coming up towards that level, I'm not really happy with the buying that we've seen so far. So you can see the actual buying that's came in. We have some bid prints, not really that much selling. And I'm not worried about the selling that's coming in. What I'm worried about is that new buying that's coming in, and just not as much as I'd like to see at all. So we're starting to pull back a little bit from there. You can see 1630, 1625. We're getting a little bit, to come in, but overall, I am not happy at all with the buying that we've got as this thing has pushed up towards those highs around that 1675. Most of that volume bar is coming from those below the bid print. So going to be interesting to see if we don't continue to get new buying coming into this thing. We're going to end up seeing it kind of crash underneath after they've made their money. Now, have the people that came in underneath that 16 level sold their shares yet? No. You can see just based off the volume itself, the volume is pretty light. There's no way in the world that they've gotten out of their positions yet. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. But like I said, once again, I need to see that more buying coming in. And then we can go basically to all the pot stocks this morning. So we have CGC is another one coming, and looking at CGC. Another one looking at this morning where it's got more buying than Cron, but if we come back over to that 8 o'clock period, you could see the same type of deal with Cron. We have those below the bid prints that came in, and it's throughout a range. So another one, 47 is a big level for it to be able to break. We have a little bit of buying. We have good buying that came in underneath it, but we have just a little bit of buying at that actual 47 level. So, well, basically all the pot stocks that we're going to be looking at this morning, I need to see something more come in to really give us that indication that the stock's going to be able to come up. Otherwise, we're going to end up coming right back to where it started from. That especially CGC, this 45, it just never really got the volume to be able to push it up towards that 47.50. So you can see it's coming right back. So it's got some decent new buying coming into it, but it needs more. Otherwise, we're going to see, like I said, we're going to see a double bottom come right back towards that 45 level. Now, INTC, so I guess they had earnings yesterday, if I had to assume, because INTC is not really a big mover, but yesterday, $1.44. This morning, in the aftermarket, we could see it took a huge hit coming in. But look at this buying that's coming in at that 47 level. So even though it's taking that hit, we certainly can see that there's people coming back in underneath the 47, so 46.80 and at 47. So going to be expecting a small pullback before the stock ends up coming back up. Missed on revenue. Okay, so it's a substantial hit that it's taken, but overall we're seeing that buying start to come back in. So I'm going to be expecting us to like I said, after the kind of moving back underneath and that pull down underneath that 47 level, coming back towards our print line right here at 47.94. We have 1.4 million shares that are sitting there. Next one, CLRO. Now, this is another one. It's these cheaper stocks, it's okay. And the reason I say that is because it has variables that are coming in, but the volume, it just has not been consistent. But at the same time, the fact that the volume has not been consistent and it's still able to actually hold right here is showing us a whole lot. So we do have a little bit of buying coming underneath that 250 level. But overall, it's not a side list because it does show us that it has the chance to actually be able to break out. It's just we need more to come in. The orders are way too thick for us not to be able to get a little bit more buying coming in around that 250 level once we popped back up. So it's decent, but this is going to be towards the bottom of our list. Now, PCG, I feel like we haven't talked about in a while. It looks like we made a nice jump up yesterday coming in. I saw you guys posting in there. Unfortunately, I didn't have power, so I didn't really get to look at much, but made a nice jump coming into the close yesterday, and then the aftermarket, it kind of sat there and it kind of hauled. But if we look over here, we can see 1250. We are definitely getting a sell-off coming in. We do have buying above, so that's one thing that we want to look at, is that the pull down from that buying it looks like this is a rider right here at 1250. It looks like somebody is going to be riding this, coming back underneath this print line. And then basically after we see a pretty substantial move, I would say 1250. So we'll start with 12, but I would say a little bit lower than 12 for this thing to drop before we'd end up seeing this thing come back up. PCG, your provider. All right, so we also have WDC. WDC, another one where it made a nice jump coming back up, and it certainly shows us that it's going to do more than it typically does. What I'm most interested in is right after 8 o'clock, you can see 43.70, and right at that 44 level, we got some really good buying that came back in. It didn't really ever pull back from there. So once the market opens, is another one I'm going to be expecting. Not a big on average, it moves $2.17. So I'm not expecting a huge pull down, but I am expecting a pull down coming underneath this buying right here before we end up coming back up and trying to break that 45. You can see that 45.25 level is a double top that's going to be coming under there, and it certainly has the buying to be able to break above there. And SQ. So SQ, I didn't see what happened yesterday, but it looks like we got a whole bunch of buying that was coming back in, and most certainly as we were coming back up towards that 70.50 level, we could see that there was buying it right before my computer shut off. So conservatively, we were looking for that 71.44 where we had that print line, and it just continued back up. So as of right this second, we have a little bit of selling that's coming back in, but the overall story does not change. All the buying that we're seeing coming into it essentially is showing us that it's going to be a continued pull up from a continued move towards that upside before that selling gets hammered. Same thing with Facebook. So Facebook is another one that jumped up this morning. I don't even care what happened yesterday. You could see 145.80, not really giving us too much, but we got that really big move towards the downside, and it looks like because of that selling that we started coming back up. But this is another one that's going to end up having to fall back a whole lot. So this is not the move that we were looking for in Facebook, even though it made a really substantial move, beautiful trigger that came back in. That is not what we're looking for overall. So there's still a lot more to come. So one thing that you do want to keep in mind is that on Fridays, a lot of times we see these tech sell-offs. So just keep that in mind as we're looking at INTC, our Apples, our SQs, our NVDAs, and everything else. But overall, that pretty much looks like it. We have a lot going on for a Friday morning, so certainly excited about that. Now, anything else out there that I missed? Cron was the first stock I went over. All right, beautiful. So ABBV, I was looking at this before. I feel like there's better things. I'm just not really happy with the way that it's trading. You see how quanty it looks already during the pre-market. Now, is it going to move a lot? Yeah, it's going to, and it certainly will get a little bit definitely certainly gets smoother, but I'm not a big fan of it right now, especially because of the fact that it just really hasn't given us any prints. Certainly something that we're going to be looking at some point. I can promise that it will be posted there, but just for what we're going to be focusing on coming into the morning, not something that I'm really that interested in yet. All right, guys. So I will see everyone in the chat, and happy trading.